Subbi, Mathur, just what we need today: adaptive, innovative, and emotional leadership. Area 13 Director, District 45 in Canada, 2021 through present. Toastmaster International Regional 8 Advisor, 2015 through 2017, and much, much more. The pandemic has changed our lives. Not business as usual. We have new norms to follow. As leaders, what game plan do you have to steer our Toastmasters clubs to the new norm? Our organization is facing multi-dimensional challenges and a lot of unknowns, with a need to quickly identify responses. We are facing crisis-driven reorganization. What we need is leadership that is adaptable, innovative, and emotional. In this hands-on workshop, we shall further define our needs to progress into this new norm. As Toastmaster leaders, we emphasize psychological safety while conducting our meetings. This session will guide the audience to have empathy towards others while feeling free to connect with them. Dear Toastmasters family, rediscover and redefine yourself. Be prepared to step outside your comfort zone to find the new you.
Fellow Toastmasters, District 58 family, I want to see all your faces. I only see names. So please turn on your video. I want to see your faces and get enthusiastic about my speech. Show me your beautiful faces. Ah, that is what I like. That is what gives me energy. You made me the leader. You grew me up. You raised me practically. I'm your child. So I'm here to tell you about changing leadership, adaptive leadership, how we adapt. And all of you have adopted, and we all have adapted, but we didn't put a name to it. We moved with the times. Give yourself a big pat on the shoulder. Great. Just what we need today. Adaptive leadership. That's the title of my speech. By the way, right now I'm holding the title of Area Director, not for District 58, but for District 45, which is in Canada. So I'm again where I started, and I love it. That is one of the adaptation that you make, changes you make in your leadership. Leadership is a team sport. All of us, hold out your hands. Hold out your hands to each other and say, we are a team. We work together. We are a family. That is what we are. Thank you, Robert. I love that. We have challenges. Well, life will not be fun if we don't have challenges, right? I should know. I have more years put under me than all of you, each one of you. What are the regular challenges? We have a duty. We have to make sure our members, all our members enjoy Toastmasters educational program. And we all have teamwork without any conflict. what has happened after the pandemic? We are not having regular meetings. That's just an excuse that we have to meet online, that we don't like online. Whole day we are working in front of the computer. Why do we have to do? No, those are excuses. But we do have a chance to expand online hybrid meetings. And we even have conferences online, by God's sake. Isn't that wonderful? International convention. I was thinking how on the world we are going to have all these countries come and meet. And I was going to miss all these people, meeting all these people in person. No, but we still could do everything online. And a speech contest, the contestants for the international speech, they were awesome. And they were online. And I felt like I touched them. And they were so expressive. And with the body language, it was wonderfully a treat indeed. What has happened in pandemic? We have become a little more self-centered. We are in the comfort of our home. We don't want to step out. And we just want to stay there. No, we have to step out. And what do we need? We need adaptive and innovative. Think about it. Adaptive leadership and innovative leadership. Adaptive leadership is going beyond self. That means giving meaning to your life beyond your own ambition. We may have ambition, so many ambitions, personal, but we put them aside when you become a leader. Your ambition gives room to the group's ambition. What is the group motion, group aim? What does the group want to do? That is what you are going to do. You are going to think beyond self and extend yourself into your fellow team members. You know, we always say we are the same person. I joined Toastmasters in 2005. When I joined, I had no clue about Toastmasters. In fact, I was a miserable example of a Toastmaster. I was a retired professor, so I was thinking I know everything about speaking. What I knew was to flip the slides and give a talk and look very professorial. I thought I aced it. I traveled all over the world giving talks. So I know it already. What is this Toastmaster going to do to me? I was mistaken. I changed. I became myself. Toastmaster taught me that I am more expressive, that I am valuable by being authentic. By being myself, I can be a good leader. And I am not the same person who was club coach at that time. I'm not the same person who was area governor at that time. I'm not the same person who was district governor at that time or region advisor. No, I'm none of those, even though I'm all of those. I grew up. We mistakenly think that we are finished, that we are already complete, we are perfect. But don't label yourself as you are in the present, except there is going to be change for you. Just project yourself. Project that you are into the future self. Imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, but imagination has no limit. This is what Albert Einstein said. So how do we define adaptive leadership? It is a leadership model. It was introduced by two people, Hafitz and Linsky, and they define it as the act of mobilizing a group of individuals to handle tough challenges and emerge triumphant in the end. I just wanted to read it because I didn't want to spoil their message. Think about it. To mobilize a group of individuals to handle tough challenges and emerge triumphant. How do you do it? That means all these individuals have to think alike or have to have common vision. They have to have a common goal, and personal ambitions don't come in the way. Adapt. So each one of us has to make changes to ourselves to be flexible. So adaptive leadership consists of 4 important things. First, you anticipate what are going to be the future needs of this organization, and what are the trends, and what are the options that we have. Articulation. We have to articulate these needs to our colleagues so that we can build a collective understanding and support for action. Unless our team members understand the future needs, trends, and options, how are we going to progress? Adaptation. Adaptation so that there is a continuous learning. See, leadership is continuous learning and adjustment of responses. We will respond to different situations depending on the stimulus that we are getting. So we have to be very cognizant of that. Accountability. Everything is very important, but more important is being accountable, being transparent. If you are a leader, you have to be transparent in your decision-making processes. You have to share with your team members what you are thinking about, what the future lies for the organization, how you are planning to do it, and how you're all going to do it together. Adaptive leadership, in short, consists of these 4 elements. You all understand the importance of emotional intelligence. Eyes have it. Eyes are the windows to your soul. When you are talking to your colleagues, look at their eyes. Are they interested, or are they not interested, or they dislike you, what you are saying, or even personally dislike you, and they have a vehement negative reaction to what you are saying? Be sensitive to it. Emotional intelligence is not being emotional, but the ability to understand somebody else's emotions, to harness your own emotional reactions, especially in adverse situations, and to create a balance in yourself. That is the emotional intelligence. What is organizational justice? The whole of Toastmasters, we make so many changes. And when we are changing the organization, we have to be fair. We have to make sure that everyone is served. No, not leaving out anybody, not leaving out the blind, not leaving out people from different countries. You be very fair. That is the unique nature of Toastmasters. It does attempt to have organizational justice. Character. The character of the organization depends on the character of the leaders. The character has to be sincere, devoted, authentic, above all authentic. And development, always be educated, always get educated, always learn something new and benefit your organization. That is what it is. And be resilient. Don't be set in your leadership. You don't say, this is what we need to do, and this is what I'm going to do, this is what you are going to do. No, you encourage novel training programs. When you are doing the officers training, leaders think about something that is novel for training. And almost 90% of the people who attend these workshops, they come back saying, there is nothing I learned new. Don't let that comment come to you. think, put on your thinking cap. Don't copy what the Toastmasters says in the manuals, but create something from your own experience and create novel training programs. And how do you develop resilience through leadership development? Each one of you here is a leader, already a leader, or on the way to being a leader. Mentor them. Mentor the future leaders. Don't recycle old leaders, but old leaders, please use your experience to nurture and grow these future leaders. Very important. Resilience through incentives. Give incentives, not money, but incentives by way of recognition, by way of giving more respect, more duties. And lay emphasis on effective teamwork. Conflicts, definitely avoid conflicts. And if there are conflicts, face them and solve them as you come across, nip them in the bud. So to be a good adaptive leader, you have to have the ability to link the organizational change to the primary values, abilities, and dreams of our members. If the organization is trying to change and the values, abilities, and dreams of our members are not congruent with the organizational change, there's something wrong. We have to link them. And we have to create an environment that embraces diversity and embraces diversity of views, and also takes advantage of such a collective knowledge to benefit the organization. And a good adaptive leader should have the ability to foresee and counteract any reluctant behavior from the teammates, and have an understanding that a large scale change is a gradual process. You cannot expect immediate results. And it calls for a persistence. It may take years to help the whole organization, but you should have the patience to wait through the years to have that achieved. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, good. There are 4 principles. Leadership should be distributed. That means it is not the property of a group of people. It is for everybody. And find out talents that are different even from yours. Mix them. And choose those people who have a transparent character. And that is how you develop a mutual trust. How to be innovative. You should be able to make changes in governing organization. You can use all your innovative techniques for team building and individual building. Put on your thinking cap and envisage some of your innovative changes. Innovation, innovation, innovation. When you are innovating, you will have some chaos, but it is okay. Little chaos is okay. Like we all underwent last year, through the whole year, to do or not to do hybrid meetings, to do or not to do online meetings. So all those things, the chaos will come when you are innovating. What is needed is adaptive coordination. Flexibility. Above all, be flexible in your leadership. Avoid being rigid. Don't have set ideas. I have to do only online meetings. Oh, I have to do only in-person meetings. Or I have to not do pathways. I only have to do our conventional method. of trading, which is all gone. So innovation is not standard protocol. A standard protocol is not innovation. Think of different ways of doing your meetings and have novelty. Be open to change and also respect opinions that are different from yours. And have a collaborative teamwork that embraces innovation. Teamwork, this is what teamwork is. Just imagine yourselves on this cycle, driving to your goal, riding to your goal. Relatedness, validate your team members' opinions and emotions. They are very important. Don't let them get lost in the crowd. Acknowledge each one's work and their achievements, however much they are doing. And when problems arise, get full feedback, even though it may be what you hear is not to your happiness. It is going to hurt you. Get the full feedback. If you are in wrong, admit it. Don't let good work go unacknowledged. Just don't have that ego, not to accept that a person has done a good job, and communicate that you care about the team members. This is what adaptive leadership is. Emotional intelligence, organizational justice, character, and development. Time to adapt. District 58 Toastmaster family. Now I'm open to questions.
Well, Subbi,
Yes, Charles.
in this show, what is the biggest lesson that you think that you've learned throughout your vast experience in leadership? What is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in terms of adapting?
Can you repeat your question?
What is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in terms of adapting to different styles during your vast years of experience in leadership?
I have learned several lessons, Charles. One of the lessons is to understand people, not to take them personally, not to take their reactions personally, but to think deeply about why they are reacting the way they are, and go into the depth of it. And this comes with maturity, comes with age, of course, and also thinking. What helps is to ask questions of the other person and ask them, in what way can you improve? Have the humility to ask them how you can improve your behavior so that they are happy. And this is what I have learned. Yes, Trent.
Subbi, sometimes adaptive leadership is called pivoting because you have to pivot with the situation. In your mind and with your experiences, what are the top 5 signs that you need to pivot?
Okay, I don't know about 5. I don't have a number for it. There are times when you have to pivot. For example, if you have a so-called leader that is determined to wreak havoc, is always negative, is always criticizing, is creating problems, creating communication problems with others, then you cannot pivot. You cannot dance around it. There you have to have a direct action. So pivoting generally is only on milder situations. For stronger situations, pivoting does not help. Pivoting becomes interpreted as your cowardice, and you better face the situation head on and solve it as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Michael.
I know I've told a story about a toxic leader, actually several of them, but one of the things that I think people struggle with is, what if you're a follower of a leader who needs to be adaptive and who is not? What kind of tips can you give for a follower to help deal with those non-adaptive leaders to get them more adaptable?
Yes, it is by constant teaching, by sharing of your knowledge, and hoping that you live by example, you set your example, and hopefully that will have an effect on your team members. And constantly in the deck or in whatever group you are working with, emphasize the positive things and emphasize that it is good to be flexible, and emphasize flexibility, and emphasize, give them stories of your own personal experience, and so that they also learn how to be a good leader. Because nobody comes born as a leader, they are learning. And I'm not the same person I was when I became vice president for education in the club, when I joined Toastmasters. It's because it was stepwise. So the same knowledge, you acquire knowledge, that is the important thing. And not only acquiring knowledge, but share it with others, with your team members. That always has a positive impact on them.
Okay, thank you.
You can utilize toxic leaders with that tactics.
Okay, so I have a question for you. And the innovative leader, if you don't mind, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the innovative leadership portion, you talked about different techniques for team building and individual building of the teams. And then you go on to how you need to develop trust and allow people to experiment and take risk. I've heard from many other individuals that all of your failures are not failures. They're just opportunities to learn how to do better. At what point is someone failing too much, in your opinion, that they need to just say, hey, perhaps turn left?
As you know, it's very tough to handle such situations. Am I right? When people are not responsive to be innovative. Whenever something new, when you suggest something new, the tendency is not to like it. Let me tell you the example. When I joined the Toastmasters, it was competent Toastmasters. And then it became competent communicators. And there was a reaction when they introduced competent leadership. And nobody would do it. They were just protesting. They had to be dragged to do those. So the tendency has, I have observed, at least in Toastmasters, everything new suggested, they cannot, I mean, there are many people that don't like it. The innovation is very tough thing to swallow. They are very comfortable with whatever they have, and they don't want to see any change. And so that is the thing we have to counteract. And we have to get their mindset so that they are also thinking innovatively and progressively, and accept that the innovations, the changes that we are facing, they are wonderful. Pathways is wonderful because you have those projects, and those are projects which already we know about in the conventional program, but we have more, lot more. It's a treasure house, and they are constantly developing and building new programs. For example, I love the humor program, and presentation mastery is wonderful for people who are just starting. Those who miss the competent communicator or advanced manual, they can feel very comfortable with that program. So the paths are great, and they are even developing paths for other organizations. So sky is the limit when you are innovating And it is to our advantage. For example, District 58 Toastmasters to move with the progress and to move forward with all the innovations, because they are good for you, like they say. And it is not a bitter medicine, it is a sweet medicine. It's when once you start doing it, you enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And we have another question that is coming from the chat from Charles.
Okay, I have a question from Charles. Did you have any situation where you failed to lead properly? What was an important lesson you learned? It is a very good question, Charles. It almost opens my conscience to talk about it. When I was area director, I had a wonderful team. I also had number 2 in command who believed in disbelieving me and in making others disbelieve me. His hobby was during the deck meetings to go around and distract people by conversations while the meeting was going on. Luckily, I had the parliamentarian, Patricia Hill, who put an end to it, or at least managed it very well. And I was taught by Cat Angus that I should smile more often. I did. And smile is the best weapon you can give to an adversary. And this is what I learned, because it frustrates them. I also had his buddy, area director, who sent emails that were very derogatory of me, all falsehoods all around. I actually wanted to make him appreciate his potential. He was very good in IT work. I gave him the responsibility of making CDs for my training program. Rajesh and I took him out for dinner at expensive restaurants, tried to cultivate his friendship. So you cannot fault me that I didn't try my best. And it is like a dog's tail. You know, some dogs' tails are like this. You can never straighten them out. This is what I learned. And I did end up firing that person because it was very disruptive. And I had a chance of taking the number 2 person out by the deck. But I realized that in the deck, I may have support of 52% and get the person out, but there will be 48% still not happy with me. So I decided that I will suffer his presence and continue with him. What happened was the rest of the team recognized what was going on. The whole team, I'm not exaggerating, each one of them rose up to the occasion, and our district was successful after 4 years. So the moral of the story is, yes, you have to be adaptive, you have to be flexible, but also take care of the organization. You are responsible for your organization, for the well-being of your organization. So do whatever it needs to take care of the organization. Robert, do I have any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. There's a question in the chat. Is going beyond your own ambition to see what the group wants to do? I'm just reading it. How do you get the group to share if they have a closed mindset that attempting something new will not work? I'll repeat the question. In going beyond your ambition to see what the group wants to do, how do you get the group to share if they have a closed mindset that attempting something new will not work?
Okay. This is very similar to the pathway resistance. that we all experienced, not as much this year, but in the past 2 years, we have experienced the resistance to pathways. It is just holding on to the old program and not let go. And the guilty people are the ones with who have good academic accomplishments. So you have to respect what they are saying, but only to a point. Because if the organization has changed its educational system and we have to go with it, we first use our own common sense. Does pathway offer something more than the traditional program? Ask yourself, all of us are intelligent people. Ask yourself, and if the answer is yes, you accept it. It is as simple as that. Unfortunately, if you have prejudices, there is no way that you can change. And unfortunately, we do have a certain portion of people who don't want to accept truth when they see it. What do we do with it? You can't beat them about it. But we can use logic, we can use reason, we can explain to them. We can even have, I have done one-on-one Zoom sessions with people who are trying to understand pathways. I take it this way. I say, oh, okay, do you want to learn more about pathways? I have free time, and let me do a Zoom meeting with you. I have done that. And I have been limited extent, I have been successful in this attempt. So this is what we need to do. We cannot give up. We cannot just give up on people who are not understanding what the organization is trying to do.
Subbi, I'm seeing another question in the chat. How do you re-energize yourself once you get your distinguished Toastmaster?
How do you re-energize? I do have 7 DTMs.
So how do you do it? How do you re-energize yourself from getting the first one to, I'm going to do this again and again?
DTM is not the end point. That's the important point. If you are going to think, I'm going to do 10 DTMs, I want to beat Subbi. That is not the correct attitude. The correct attitude is, I am working. Every year, Rajesh and I were members of many clubs, and that gave us more speaking opportunities. That means more presentations. And I also held responsible jobs. And those jobs gave me credit to have DTM. It is not like you just get the DTM. You have to have the necessary credentials to have the DTM. And so I was helping clubs. When I was helping clubs, I became member of those clubs. I became area director, area governor, and I became member of all the clubs there. I became division governor. I became member of all the clubs. But it was not in paper. We were attending. And in fact, I was VP education sometimes for 2 or more clubs at a time. And it was sincerely done. And so to me, it is a journey. It is Toastmasters is a journey. You don't worry about what the end point is, what your degree is, I have got enough degrees already, but it is not for the titles, but you are doing it. What I like the best is the mentorship. I like the mentoring of the clubs. I like talking on one-to-one with the members and with the officers. And that is what gives me the pleasure of and learning new things. So because every time I give a talk, I'm learning something new and I'm sharing it with others. And this is what I like. Recently, Leadership Laboratory Toastmasters is a wonderful club to join. They had asked me to give a talk on conflicts. It was supposed to be a humorous talk. So I gave a talk saying almost that conflicts cannot be solved, not the usual methods that are taught to us in Toastmasters. It was a kind of, say, tongue in the cheek kind of presentation, because I went through the experiences and how the basic axioms that we are taught does not always come to our help when you are talking about conflicts. So that is just an example. What I like is my brain gets stimulated. So I love that it prevents me from aging. And I love that. And it makes me active. I am staying active, and I enjoy being active. And if DTM comes, yes, I'm ready for a 8th DTM. I have to complete my DTM project. Otherwise, I have done so far, not like Douglas, but I have done 6 parts so far. So that kind of makes me going. I want to see more.
Awesome.
I want
And
to learn more.
I believe this is a comment, and if it's not, feel free to answer or embellish on it. Michael is stating mentor or teach others what you have learned on your distinguished Toastmaster journey. And I believe you touched on that. I have a question for you that is sent to me, that was sent to me in a private message. In your presentation, embrace a little chaos when innovating. Do you believe that chaos, a chaotic environment, will help benefit the active brainstorming of new ideas?
Yeah, you should see my desk sometimes when I'm actively working. I have papers strewn all over the place. Just an example, when you are creative, you create a chaos around yourself because you want to get organized in the end. That is the aim. But before organizing, you get disorganized so that you know where things are. And then you put them together and it falls in place. So that is the same thing with a group. Your group members, maybe each one may be looking at with the different points of view. How do you bring them all together? Do you tie them with a lasso and pull them? No, you can't do that. Can you shout at them and get them to listen to you? No, they don't. Even children don't, the grandchildren don't, I have learned. So you have to use strategy and you have to use tactics. So these are the things before you get it. So you have to be innovative. Every time you are a leader, think about it. All of you be innovative. You will find a solution for a problem.
Awesome. I also received a private message from someone referring to your teamwork section where they call it the elongated bicycle. I don't know the technical name for it, where I put 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 people that are on this bicycle, and clearly everyone is not pedaling the same amount. In your opinion, is the leader the one in the front steering or the one in the back?
Did Trent ask the question?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Who asked the question?
I believe they sent it to me on private message to remain anonymous. Yeah. I'm going to respect that.
This is a very classical question. Whether you lead from the front or from the back. Okay, what happens when you lead from the front? Oh, hey, I'm leading. I'm going. Where are the people who are following? Have you checked? You have to check. If the people are there behind you, you can lead from behind forward. Or if you're leading from back, then they are before you, but are they walking ahead and losing you? So either way, there are no set answers for this. In the situation, every member, you have to be cognizant of what every member is thinking and doing. And you have to be aware of where they are. It is like taking care of your children. You should know where they are, right? In the daytime, if you don't know, you lose them. They are on the roads and then police has taken them. So you have to be aware of where your group people are in their thinking. You have to be in touch with them, not just emails, call them, chat with them. If you are thinking of something new to do, don't just push it on them, but discuss with them. One factor, and then if you explain to them, everybody with a reason will accept your, your theory. And you lead by example. You are, if they are following you, they should admire you for something you have. So have that quality, then you can lead.
And we have another question in the chat. I can't disclose the name of the person that is asking this. Are you available as a personal coach or a mentor?
Yes.
I am in a leadership position on my job and could use some knowledge from you on your leadership.
Yes, somebody is asking if I can be a mentor.
A personal coach or mentor.
Can you?
I can send up your website with your fees if you want.
I have some problem with the sound. Can you?
Yep.
Can you text it for me?
How about I just speak up? They're asking if you are available as a personal coach or a mentor.
I'm not pretending to be a business coach, but I am available to help people in their whatever they are thinking of, personally coaching them. I can do that. And yeah, I would love to. Okay. Yes, and I give them my email address and they can contact me and we will go from there. I love mentoring people. Yes, very, very much so.
Okay, another question in the chat from Charles Austin Jr. How do you deal with so-called behind the scenes leadership?
keep the behind the, how do you deal with the so-called behind the scenes leader? Keep them behind the scenes.
Keep them there? Put some super glue and just leave them there, okay?
Don't bring them out. You don't have to talk about them. Just let them stay where they are, behind the scenes. And you know, they say, listen on one ear and let go of the other ear. That is a very common saying in India.
Sounds painful.
You listen one ear and you let go of the other ear. That is the saying in India. That means you ignore them.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I have to write that down. I've never heard that.
Love you all. Happy times, District 58 Toastmasters. Great event. I'm enjoying it and continue to enjoy it. And very nice seeing all my old friends here. Lovely. Robert.
Yes, ma'am.
And Barbara, Chris, Jessica White, all of you. Shikina.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you all for joining us. I am going to go back to our regular timing and turn it back over to our presiding officer,